Hello there. Was just putting some finishing touches in here. Good evening, all. You are on the lifeboat. This is Captain Calhoun speaking. We're going to dive deep today. We're a submersible now. I was exploring other concepts of like what I could do, and one of the things we had talked about was story time. And I do have a lot of stories. I don't know. I have a lot of like ideas of what could be a consistent inconsistency, right? As far as like a show topic or theme for topics. And story time is definitely one of them. I don't know how sustainable story time is. As long as there's another story to tell, right, then it's fine. But I figured we'd try it out today, see how it goes. Um, Today, we're going to talk about one of the loves of my life. And it's going to be a little rough. I'm going to take my time as to, yeah, I don't know, whatever. It's going to be great, though. Happy Friday evening. My sister, Curious George, hey there. Kristen Melinda, Tara Smiling, Body Illusion, Kristen Melinda, hey there. How you guys doing? Ben Bacon Bits, my guy. Tommy Bird, welcome in, guys. Hey there. Tina Serlin, Casey, Aaron Cooper, welcome, welcome, welcome. Sandy Wandy, always a pleasure. Moni69. Heck yeah, guys. We are diving deep. My other's keeper, hey there. I have been dropping the ball on the ripples, y'all, and that's my fault. I will admit it. Hopefully, I'm hoping I can keep my stuff all in one place, my stuff together tomorrow. I'm embarrassed because I even addressed it this morning and then immediately dropped the ball again. But please forgive me. Ripples, Brazy girl, hey there, good to see you. My day was really good. I got to hang out with the Admiral. We went and ran some errands and hung out and talked about some finer points of captaining a ship. All the good stuff with my pops. Any way we can help with the stuff, Spanks? Well, I think that I could get a lot better at delegating, and I think that should be one of my main goals moving forward is to learn how to delegate good. If I can break it down in my head to where like there's separate tasks, like I just haven't done that yet. If I can like visualize it and plan it a little bit better, then I can totally find stuff to give you guys to help. I just right now I don't even know. So we're just gonna peel the onion live. We're gonna peel right to the heart of it. This is one that this one's still kind of fresh. And there's a lot to go into. So I don't even know if we'll get through it all today. But when in doubt, peel the onion. So whatever. We're gonna go deep and do some soul work. Mayonnaise Entertainment, good to see you. Teresa Baldessari, Anthony Beatty, in Spanks We Trust. I appreciate you. That's awesome. Missed Dragon. I bet you frozen ripples are beautiful. I wonder, you would have to flash freeze them. For science, of course. I don't know why we're so hard on ourselves, Tara. That is a good question. It does seem to be a part of the human condition, I have to say. I'm going to do my best to call this girl Lucy. That is not her name, but I think out of respect, because she's a wonderful lady, she's a wonderful woman. I think out of respect, I know I can do it. I know I cannot use her name. So we're going to stay just on our toes enough to call her Lucy every time I have to mention a name, hopefully. Onions are like, ogres are like onions. Why don't you want to be like a cake, though? Cakes have layers. UK watching. Andy Paul, shout out to the UK. I had a thought earlier about Europe. Oh, I was thinking about death metal. Unrelated. Carol at Needing a Meeting. Seventh Son. Hey, guys. Hey there, Carol. Well, don't work too hard, all right? Carol says, getting ready to head to the barn for chores, but wanted to say hey. All right, let's get into it. If you like what we do here, hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications. It really helps us out a ton. Yeah. All right. We're going to call her Lucy. So this girl and I met, I want to say 6 or 7 years ago. I might have to amend that later as we go through and start to pick it apart. But I think we met like 6 or 7 years ago. I met her at a, I was at a, it was kind of like a house party, like a kickback, but it wasn't like a party with a bunch of people. It was like just a few friends. And we had gotten together to spin fire, to fire dance in the backyard. But there was probably like maybe 11 people there total. So, I mean, and that might even be too many, right? So it was very personal. In fact, the only person there that I didn't know, that I didn't recognize, the only like new person was this girl, Lucy, we'll call her. And I was, oh no. Okay, it's fine. It's supposed to happen. So I walk into this party with some friends. I'm going to breeze through some parts that might be important to some people that are in this story, but they're not important for the purpose of the story. So I was arrived with some friends, and this girl who I didn't recognize. That is so interesting. This girl that I didn't recognize was in the foyer, right? The entryway. And I'm learning a whole lot about hats right now. And she was sitting there. I don't know if she was smoking weed or if there was like a pipe or something sitting there in front of her, and I really wanted to smoke, and I was like, hey, let's smoke. But that's pretty much what happened. I ended up introducing myself, sat down, and we kind of got to know each other a little bit and partook in a little marijuana. Spun some fire. Turns out she was there to photograph the fire dancing. She's a photographer, quite a good photographer, by the way. Some of my best fire shots she shot, and some of my best fire moments caught on film were with her, also on film. But the rest is kind of history, I guess. From there, we that was a cool first meeting, but we ended up exchanging numbers, hanging out a few times. We didn't start dating until I want to say a few years later because I ended up getting with another lady pretty soon after that meeting, and we were together for a little over a year, a little under a year, something like that. And Lucy and I got together after that relationship, pretty quickly after that relationship. I want to say, alarmingly fast, which should have been a red flag, right? That should have been something that I was like, hey, are you taking time to heal yourself, Spanks? Are you taking time to really, are you really thinking this through? And I don't know if I had that thought or not, but it was swept under the rug if it was even thought of. Ow. She shot scenes by the seashore for sure. No, no, I actually that is a common misconception that I get. I must look like someone who plays the field or something. Maybe it's just because of my devilish good looks, but definitely never been very promiscuous. It's always been such a personal thing to me. It's hard for me to engage in such behavior, even no matter how much I have wanted to at certain times. Relationships have always meant a whole lot to me, I have to say. But yeah, so we got together, a couple years after we had met, and we shared a lot of common interests. The connection that Lucy and I shared was deep, and it was immediately like felt when we met that first night, hanging out, um, spinning fire, taking pictures of fire, smoking weed, just conversating about, whatever, the birds and the bees, this and that. We really had a solid connection. It was immediately felt palpable, right? And when we got together, it was awesome. We had a beautiful relationship, some of the best times of my life for sure. And I don't know which aspect of this to go into first. I guess chronologically is probably the best way, but a lot happened in the time that we were together. And for that matter, I mean, our relationship didn't necessarily end when like a relationship ended, if that makes sense. We did, obviously, we're not together anymore, but when we did end up breaking up, we remained in each other's lives for years and years. In fact, I she was still in my life until right before moving here. That was one of the last things that I did before I moved here was I burnt that bridge. I made sure that there was no way I could ever return to her. Um, and that was really hard. That was really, really hard. I did not want to do that, but I still stand by that decision. I think it's for the best. We are not good for each other. I don't know if we like crossed a threshold that can't be like come back from, but no matter how much we love each other, which we do, we love each other dearly. To this day, I'll always love this girl. It's just how it is. It's just how it's going to be, and I have to accept that. I have accepted that. Um, but it's just we definitely are not good for each other. Um, so I burnt that bridge, and yeah. So she was in my life for up until very, very recently. And when I say I burnt that bridge, I didn't, go out of my way to hurt her, or I didn't do anything wild. I just expressed my feelings. I just, said the things to her that really needed to be said, but I never had the courage to say, And maybe part of me thought those things didn't need to be said because they were so hard, because they, were about a time in our lives that were in the past, right? And it doesn't need to be talked about anymore, kind of thing. But those things weighed on my heart so heavily. I had to do something with them, and I also wanted to burn that bridge. So it seemed like the right way to go about that. Um, but yeah, do do do. She passed the red line on the bridge burn barometer. Yes, she did. It was all the way. It was all the way up. Thank you for saying so, Brazy Girl. I appreciate you. She is a special person, Body Illusion. Oh, you guys are great. I love her. The girl, I don't know. I probably shouldn't say that. I won't say that. But yeah. So I guess we'll start chronologically. And this is not very healthy of me, but we moved in together pretty quickly. And it was her apartment that I moved into, right? So not the most responsible captain move, but that is how the story goes. And we lived together for a while. It came up pretty quickly before we got together, in fact, um, that like relationship ideals, right? She up until that point had been doing this polyamory thing. And I think that in hindsight, she was pretty new to the whole polyamory thing. She was still figuring out how it worked because, from what I understand, and I'm no expert, but from what I understand, the way that polyamory works is not what we did. It's not what we practiced at all at any point in our relationship. But anyways, we'll get to that, I guess. But it came up in conversation pretty quickly, right before we got together, that that's what she was doing, and that like crushed me. I was like, well, we can't be together then. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not into that. That is the exact opposite of what I had in mind. Kind of thing. And she like picked up on that immediately, like in the moment, like felt that withdrawal, um, and like bent to like what I wanted. And in hindsight, it looks that way, right? But in the moment, it was just like a hard thing that we kind of worked through, and then decided to move forward together, kind of thing. But so what that means is she decided to try monogamy with me for, I mean, she didn't put a time on it, but she was like, all right, yeah, let's do that. Which I think should have also been that's another turning point, another flag that I could have recognized, right? Just that it's not going to work out. Maybe we would have been better as friends the whole time. I don't know. It's hard to talk in hindsight that way, but I do think sometimes if we had never crossed that threshold into relationship and just stayed as friends, we probably would still be hanging out to this day. Um, but I digress. So she decided to try monogamy, right? So we're dating, and we did so much cool stuff together. We cooked together. We fire danced together. We went on adventures and road trips and hikes, and we had coitus everywhere under the sun. It was the best. It was that hot, hot fire coitus. You know what I'm talking about? I will not talk about that anymore, but I just wanted to just make that point that was pretty sweet. It was a high for sure. Um, as far as like measurements go historically. Like we were getting it. We were active. And it was just, yeah, my life was being enriched. That first year we spent together was amazing. And it's not without its faults, right? It's not without its struggles and its fights. I talked about two flags already that in hindsight seemed pretty obvious that I should have noticed. And maybe I did take note, but regardless, I swept them under the rug and did not do anything about them, right? And it's funny. I'm going to take a second to touch on a concept. When we notice something that we know is wrong, or we notice like something doesn't seem right, but we ignore it. Imagine doing that a bunch of times in a year on the same subject, aka possibly, for example, a relationship that's new to you, right? You do that a bunch of times over the course of a year, the first year you're dating this person, and then you have a whole bunch of things that have piled up that didn't seem like a big deal in the moment, but now it has equated to a huge issue, right? And I don't know exactly how that works, but it happened to me. It happened to us, Lucy and I. Um, I think that if we had addressed those things one at a time as they had come up, maybe they wouldn't have been an issue at all moving forward. I really wanted it to work with her. We had such a beautiful thing going. I introduced her to my family. I had her at Christmas a few times. I met her family. I went out for Christmas out in where she's from to meet her parents. Like, it was really cool, very supporting, very connecting. And the second year we were together was like a black and white difference, like the exact opposite of all that. Like all those little things piling up and becoming like something else, like turned us into different people, or turned our relationship into something else, I guess. Because the way that we were behaving with each other after a certain point was completely unrecognizable. You wouldn't have, before that first year, people would see us and, say, what a beautiful couple, that's so tender. Right. And then the second year, people didn't want to talk about us, and they probably didn't want to hang out with us either, in hindsight. Very, very interesting kind of stuff to examine. I journal about this all the time. Casey says, sometimes we think we can change them, but we need to accept someone as is. And I don't know if it was me trying to change her or her trying to change me or both of us or what, but I agree, Casey. I definitely agree. Crazy Girl says, she'll forever be a beautiful chapter in your life, Spanks. Yes, she will be, and I think of her fondly, and I wish her the best, I wish her the best. We hurt each other quite a bit, though. We were not good to each other at the end. I tell you what. Tommy Bird says, all past relationship-related mistakes become some of the most momentous life lessons on learning. We are learning. We are our outside. I don't know what the end of that says, but I agree. But I agree with that first bit. Momentous learning opportunities. And things that are close to the heart often are more personal, right? They mean more. I think there's something to that. Emotions do have a purpose. They have a very deep, deep purpose of meaning. Jen, Aunt Neen, hey friends, listening home, driving home from the hospital. I'm good, relative isn't. Ooh, let's get some ones up for Jen, Aunt Neen's relative, all right? Sending prayers and thoughts and love. It turned quite toxic, body illusion. Like, it didn't get physical or anything like that, but like the way we spoke to each other and the way that we treated each other was absolutely unacceptable. And the things that we like did to each other, as far as like, I mean, I don't know how much detail I can get into, but the second year, I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything important before I move like fully into year 2. I mean, we went to Burning Man together. We performed in the Great Circle for the man burn ceremony. We did. I'm forgetting a huge portion of this to connect it to the theme of recovery in the lifeboat. When we met, she smoked weed, right, and she drank, but she had never done drugs. Other than that, right? That was like the extent. She was homeschooled for the majority or all. I'm pretty sure she was homeschooled for her whole life. And she did a little bit of college, right? Did a little university. Um, so very sheltered person. And we did a lot of drugs together. We went out there. One looking in from a third person point of view might even say that I turned her out, but I wouldn't say that. I think that that has a negative connotation, and I don't like the way that that feels in my mouth. I don't like the way that that tastes. Um, but yeah, I definitely introduced her to hallucinogens. I introduced her to ecstasy. I introduced her to, I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anything. We didn't really do opiates. We didn't really do like benzos or anything like that. But we did a lot of mushrooms and acid and weed and cocaine and ecstasy. We did a lot of all of the above. I was kind of past my ecstasy phase. That's probably a story for another time for sure. I don't know how willing I am to get into that at this point, but it is a good story. But I definitely had a seriously deep ride with ecstasy, and it's not something that at that time when Jess and I got together, it was not something that I wanted to, uh, not something that I was into doing anymore. So, but we did some. She was into it. So it has a pimpish feel, doesn't it? Body illusion. Um, But I say that word, and I chose to say it on air because that it's a concept and an idea worth exploring, right? If I'm going to peel this onion, did I damage this girl? Did I change the trajectory of her life? You know what I mean? These are important questions, and I think I did. I think I did. And I think she's doing really well now. I hope she's doing really well. Um, she was doing really well when I left her, so. Um, but yeah, so we did a lot of drugs together. I remember one year there's always a big gay pride parade in Salt Lake City. Every year, that's like one of the biggest holidays downtown for my well, I mean, I don't even know for my generation, for the city. It's a huge production. Jake can totally speak to this, but we were together one of the years, the first year we were together. We went to the Pride Parade with our friends, and we did a bunch of acid, and it was like liquid acid. One of our friends had some liquid, and she had never done like liquid dropped directly into her mouth. She didn't really know what she was getting into, and I knew that. We spoke about it beforehand. I was like, "Have you ever done this before?" She was like this. I was like, "Yeah, out of the dropper, directly out of the thing." And she was like, "No." I was like, this is gonna be a ride, and she really, really wanted to do it. We had done acid before, right? Just not like this. And I don't know if you have experience with this particular application of LSD, but when you have like a Robbie dropper, like we have here for tincture, but it's LSD. Like imagine doing this. Think about like trying to get just the smallest amount of this spicy stuff on your tongue so you get the spice, but not overpowering, right? It's the same concept with the LSD. It's almost impossible to get just one hit when you're doing it directly out of the dropper. You know what I mean? So I like looked my friend right in the eyes. We like locked eyes, like real connection. I was like, dude, try to give her as little as possible. Please don't. I don't want to deal. I don't want to have to like bring her back from the brink. That is exactly what I had to do that day. I had to put her mind back together. It was a terrible experience, but it is a story of hope and strength, I think. But yeah, she got like a little bit in the mouth, and it was way too much. Whatever amount it ended up being, it was way too much acid for her. And we ended up going, we had a great time. But the first bit, she was having a real hard time. Like her brain was in the loop. Got stuck in like her record was skipping, if you know what I mean. I took her there's a museum downtown called the Leonardo. Really cool museum. I have some other stories that I probably shouldn't tell, but about the Leonardo, but that Lucy's also involved in. But anyways, I took her to the Leonardo because in the front room, when you first walk in, they have this huge. It's like It's like a table for like a great dining hall. Like in the movies when you walk into the king's court and there's just this table that's way too big. They have one of those, except it's not a table, it's a giant tub of Legos and then like space to like play with them. So we sat down and we played with Legos, tripping dick on acid. And we built stuff up. We were having a good time. And then I looked at her and I was like, all right, are you ready? And she was like, for what? And I smashed our creations and I was like, I laughed about it. I giggled and I was like, haha, now we get to do it again. We get to start over. And that clicked for her. And she was better after that. After that, I don't know if like it had worn off a certain amount or if like I actually helped shift some things in her brain. But whatever the case, after that moment, she was totally fine, which is really cool. Really cool. I was worried. I was worried that she was going to be stuck on repeat forever. It really scared me. Please hold. But yeah. I did a whole bunch, I think, last night, but we'll do it again tonight, Brazy. I want to get through some of this before we get less serious. Thank you for saying that, Tommy. Mr. Ray, hey there, buddy. How you doing? Shout out to Mr. Ray. Fighting the good fight. It does take two to tango. It does take two to tango. When I told myself, when I decided I was going to do this today, I was like, I'm going to try and talk as good about her as I possibly can. I think I'm doing a good job. We're going to have an intermission while I get my voice together here. Thank you guys for being here. What am I looking for? Get your stuff together, Spanks. Yeah, emotions are the mind killer, dude. I tell you what. I can't be logical when I'm emotional. I guess that's a scientific thing, though. That's a scientific thing. Da-na-na-na. I love that sample so much. Can we hear that again? Sometimes listening to gangster rap makes me feel better when I feel down and out and vulnerable. It makes me feel like a hard guy. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Zaphod Beeble Brox. Gold brick covered with lemon. I've totally heard about that. Oh my dude. The nuts on this guy. That's crazy. They definitely the kind of nuts I like on my president, though, let me tell you. If you don't mind me saying. Been sober all day, Mr. Ray. Dude, we haven't pulled this out in a while, but this is the best reason right here. I tell you what, Mr. Ray is doing the damn thing. I'm proud of you, dude. Let's hang out tonight. Eating more beard than sandwich. Hell yeah. Got to have fiber in it. Thank you, Blue Bayou. I will do my best, I promise. Blue Bayou says, I've been that girl. It's not all on you. Don't carry all that weight. I appreciate you. You see this, Tara? They loved us. Everyone be sure to go check out Tara Smiley's channel. She does meetings over there as well, and they're pretty fantastic. She is a great meeting host, in my opinion. And yeah, go show her some love and let her know you dig it. Yeah. You can't hear it, can you, Jake? I'm using the problem speaker today, but it's as far down as it can go. So I think it's fine. Tired of seeing you struggle. Tired of seeing you suffer. I was gonna go for the casual look, but I thought, if we're gonna talk about this, I should probably put a button down on the captain hat instead of a tank top. I can hear it, he says. Word. Well, that sucks. Still figuring stuff out. Still figuring stuff out. It's rare that they actually, like that it actually becomes an issue. I think the one day that it was an issue, it was because the artist, and I was silent for like, it must have been like a whole 60 seconds at least of just the song and me like looking at the screen and saying nothing. Well, maybe I turn it off, dudes and dudettes. It's interesting. I have two speakers over there, right? One of them's also a record player, and like it has a very different sound and feel to the sound. And maybe it's just because the speakers are blown out, or the speakers are smaller, or there's no woofer in there. I don't know what the deal is, but it has a very different feel and sound. And that one is better for this application of not picking up on the mic. But I have this JBL Charge 5 that really, really thumps a little. And even on the quietest setting, because of the acoustics in this room, it is hard to not pick it up. But the good news is there's nothing to worry about, because if the damage is done, it's already done. So it's too late to worry about it. I am going to move on with my story. Good looking out, y'all. I appreciate you guys. The emotions have subsided for the moment. Aria Schleider. Hey, friends. How you doing? All right. Where were we? We were talking about drugs, fire. So the second year was way different, yo. She expressed to me at some point that Lucy was not a big fan of the monogamy thing. And it was a big discussion that we ended up having about a year in. And it was, I don't know, maybe I am missing some other stuff. We had issues with like friends of ours that were females. Like when we were in the monogamous part of our relationship, the monogamous part, right? When I say we, the only reason I have an issue is because she has an issue and she's bringing it to me. And I don't say that like, I don't know, like this was like a huge point of contention, I guess, in our relationship. Any friends that I had that were females, and there were females in our fire crew, right? And like, I understand jealousy is an emotion, right? I totally get it. But it was not something that we were able to work through. And I don't know if it was jealousy. I don't know. It's really hard to look back and know what was actually going on. But we argued a lot about like friends that I had that were girls. And it's not like I was hanging out with women that weren't my girlfriend. That's not the case. It was literally never the case. But there were other girls in our fire crew, and we were all pretty close, like, right? Lucy included, a part of this. But these feelings that she was experiencing and having, and I'm not going to say, I mean, it was also at the time hard for me to see things from her perspective. I'm sure that I could have done more to empathize with her. I'm sure that I could have done more to like understand where she was coming from, and then therefore like maybe move a little different. And maybe that's, But like bottom line is this was a huge point of contention, and it made her feel not a part of. It made her feel like lesser than a part of the group, and it made her feel like not a part of the group. So um, we ended up leaving that fire crew because I wasn't gonna walk away from Lucy. So we together walked away from that crew. And that was a huge turning point for us. We moved into a cute little house with like a cute little yard. We had this cute little life. Um, but like, that was like on the surface, like underneath, like we were falling apart. Coming home from work wasn't an exciting thing. Like we would get into fights, we would argue and scream and yell at each other. And um, communication broke down, right? Communication had broken down. And there was no like rebuilding it, no matter how hard we tried. And I'm not a bad communicator. I definitely have the ability to be a bad communicator, but like, um, I pulled out every trick I knew in the book. I tried everything. I wanted to salvage this relationship so much that I was like willing to sacrifice things that I had no business sacrificing, right? And I remember when I realized that, I was like lost. I felt trapped. I had been in this relationship for like 2 years. And I remember my dad told me, he was like, do you want to be another 5 years down the line and still feel the same way, kind of thing? You know, like you need to make a decision, like all the way. And you need to make it now. And that was like right before Christmas. Trying to think, that second year, we had to like move into another house. I only lived in that house for like a month, and then we like separated for real. We moved into this other house towards the end of our relationship, and I like moved into the bottom of the house, like the bottom floor, and she moved into the upstairs. And it was like the most uncomfortable thing. I remember my bedroom was like right under hers. So she would be just like crying and just sobbing all night. And I would just like be listening to her sobbing all night. It was the worst time of my entire life. It was so bad. It was so bad. It was heartbreaking. And, I knew I could just go up there and like hold her and cuddle her and like we could probably be okay and be happy. But like then what kind of thing? It was just the worst. It was the worst. I also kind of want to talk about something kind of unrelated, but just popped into my head. How do you guys feel about makeup sex? I hate that concept. It's like, look, we just fought. We just like had a fight about this thing that's not resolved. We are in disagreement. And you just want to get down and do the nasty. Like, what is up with that? How do y'all feel about that? I'm not being judgmental, but like to me, that's just not how I work. And that's totally something that like that's how she wanted to do things. She wanted to feel better, I guess, which makes sense, right? It would feel a whole lot better if we just got it on. But I want to ask some other people. I don't think I've ever asked this question to a forum before. How do you guys feel about makeup sex? It's the best. I liked it, but I'm the wrong person to ask. It's a patch so they can feel better about themselves, in my honest opinion. Right on, Mon. We have lots of diverse answers here. Yeah, that's uncomf for me too, as Reese would say. I prefer grudge sex. Oh my. Oh my. Spanks, I have a story about that that's not for YouTube. Well, maybe it's for Discord. Ben Bacon Bits can't do it either. For some people, fighting is foreplay. Interesting. I bet you, for all the hot fire coitus that we had, I bet you if I had played into that, it would have been even more hot fire. I can't even imagine. It is. I'm glad I have the AC on. I thought about this before hitting going live. I was like, it's going to get hot in here. I can tell. It's the heightened emotional state, just levels it up. Not healthy per se. It's great, but doesn't solve anything. Word. Well, I'm in the business of solutions, resolutions, and love. You know what I mean? I don't like Band-Aids. They suck. Black boots. I don't know if I've ever said hello to you, but hey there. Nice boots. Nice boots. Right on, man. It was way better when I thought it was for me. Yeah, if our arguments had ever ended up resolved, it was like a different story, right? And it's like, let's celebrate. You know what I mean? Like, then I'm down. But like, let's just forget about all those words we just exchanged and all those emotions we were just hurling at each other. Let's just, I don't know. I don't know. Black boots. I love it. I love it. I like it a lot. I think there's a difference between makeup sex and breakup sex. Maybe she just wanted to have breakup sex every time. And I was like, nah, maybe I just misinterpreted the whole thing. That is, that's one of my favorite. So that's the song of the day right there, Seventh Son. F Me Pumps by who knows the artist? I'll give you 5 seconds. F Me Pumps by Amy Winehouse. It's not fair because there's a delay, but Cosmic Christie and Krista Melinda, no, they knew. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. I didn't play that very well. I screwed that up, but it's okay. You guys knew. The late great Amy Winehouse. Savage, Tommy Bird. I'm glad I never did that, dude. Just like crying. Oh my. Let's talk about something else, please. Oh my. I knew this was going to be good. So, yeah, so I moved out of that house. Which was really hard. We had like joint bank accounts. Like she stole a bunch of money from me. Um, she also, so like in the beginning, I said we like stayed in each other's lives for like ever after this, right? So we like broke up, and then she like kind of sued me. She like filed. How did it go down? She filed like police reports and filed a stalking injunction against me. And I can't even tell you, man. I like when I left that house, I couldn't put enough distance between her and I. Um, and like then she like chased me down with this like stalking injunction that was basically a legal document saying that I'm stalking her and she feels unsafe. So now I'm having like legal troubles. And so in Salt Lake, in Utah, I don't know if it's a city thing, a state thing, but the way it works there, when someone files a stalking injunction, if the person that the injunction is filed against doesn't respond within 10 days, then they're just a stalker. Like, it's boop, the paperwork's pushed through, and then they get on a list, like a sex offender list kind of thing, but for stalkers. And me not being an idiot, as soon as I got wind that this was happening, I'm pretty sure that I got served paperwork. Like someone knocked on my door, or I can't remember exactly how it went down, but I got served. And I was like, oh, what the heck? I like look into it immediately and find out that I need to respond, right? So I did, and I ended up going to court over this, and thank God that I did, because I won. I'm not a stalker. Maybe she actually did feel that way, right? And that's justifiable. Like I can feel that. Like it was pretty rough there at the end. Like I wasn't right psychologically. I could see myself not like seeing reality properly, right? I could totally see her feeling that way. So like I try not to hold that against her, but man, if I had handled that differently, my life would be 100% different today. Like that could have changed my life forever. And that was one of the big things. Like she called the cops on me and like tried to turn me into a stalker. And like that second part, it's like not really true, right? That wasn't her intention. She thought she was protecting herself. I'm sure of that, right? But in effect, I don't know. And again, it's hard to hold that against her because, she was emotional, not thinking logically, not in her right mind kind of thing, right? You guys are so sweet to me. I have done some really nasty things, I promise, but obviously not proudly. But yeah, I'm not a stalker. You know, I'm like, you can tell it's not in me, right? Um, I'll tell you another story about my very first love one day that'll illustrate this a whole lot better. But you're out of milk, lol. You're fucking funny. Dropping F words. I'm sorry, Brazy. Anyways, emotional. What are we talking about? Lucy. The stalking thing. So get this. I got back in, I reconnected with my fire crew when Lucy and I separated, right? Which was great. And they were such great support. I can't imagine what it was like to be around me for that first year when we broke up. But I spent so much time in their company, and they just held me, and like, not physically, sometimes physically, but you know what I mean? They were just so loving and just like understanding and supportive. And I was just a wreck. I was a mess. Like, I couldn't have fun. I couldn't, I couldn't do things. I was broken. I was broken physically, mentally, emotionally. I was a mess. And they just held me through the whole thing. We did performances together. I got back in the swing. When we ended up going to court and when I had to defend myself for that stalking thing, we had a performance scheduled in Moab, like a paid performance. Like, we were going out as a crew, setting up shop, doing the show, getting paid, and leaving. And in that, it was like a 2-day thing, 3-day thing, like a weekend. For somehow, some way, the court date gets scheduled for this smack dab in the middle of this trip. I have to show up in video court. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to miss this thing. Like, there's no way I'm going to let her take this from me too, kind of thing, right? So I structured it to where, so we went out to this thing in Moab. I borrowed my friend's truck. Shout out to, I won't say your name, but love you. Love you so much. Snecka. We'll call her Snecka. She let me drive her truck into town, and I went to the library and used their internet in one of the study booths. And they let me use it for like way longer than the time allotted. They were really good to me. And I went to court with Lucy on my trip to Moab from the library in Moab, and I won. Like, I spent time like organizing a defense, like I represented myself, kind of thing. It was like a civic court. Is that what it's called? Civil court is different than like criminal court. Everything was so different. It was so wild. Like, I had my friends, like, they were also her friends, write letters like talking about our relationship and me as a person. And like, it was just the hugest mess. She was probably in Salt Lake at the house that we had moved into together, that I had moved out of. That was a big point of contention too. I'm really glad I didn't keep that house. She moved out of it shortly afterwards. She could not afford it by herself. But yeah, court. And then that performance, I went to court the day of our performance. So I went to court in the morning and I performed that night. I got in a fist fight with one of the tribe mates the night before court, over like, they were like making like a bunch of noise, and I was like hella stressing out, and like I had received documents in the email like at like midnight that like were relevant to the court case happening tomorrow. And it was like all of her evidence, all of the documents that she submitted or whatever. I forget what it's called, but like, you're supposed to have a period of time to review. I received these things like 8 hours before we're supposed to be in court. So I was like stressing out trying to read all these documents and like figure out exactly what her plan was so that I could like defend. And this person is like, we're out in the desert, kind of like at a festival kind of thing, right? So they're partying, they're reveling, and I was like, hey, not very nicely, but I was like, rah, 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 and they mocked me, so I laid them down, and that was not good. That totally was that like drove a nail between me and the rest of the tribe for sure. Like from then on, it was never the same. Those people are still my family. Like to this day, I love every single one of them, and I know that they bear love for me too. But that was a very very hard thing for all of us to pass through together. When I struck that other human in our tribe, um, when I punched him, it was very difficult for us to move through. Luckily, we did. Not my shiniest moment. Not my shiniest moment. But what is the point of that I'm getting to? So we like that took a year. That court process took like a year. So we were having to deal with this very very uncomfortable like topic, dealing with each other for a year, and then after that, I'm pretty sure that I like countersued her or something for money because she like stole money from me. So like there was a separate court case going on that took even longer that I ended up losing because I like wasn't as prepared. I gave all my energy to the other one and then I was done with it, right? I was sick of it. Huge mistake. I should have just not. I mean, I had to defend myself on the stalker thing, right? But in hindsight, I don't think I should have sued her for money. I was stupid. It was a waste of my time and energy and just hurt. It just hurt. But and we formed like we had like the same friend groups. It was really hard to navigate social activity for a very long time. It was very very much like getting sober, you know. For the first little while there, if I would go out and like she was already at a function, I like didn't want to be there. Like I couldn't be there. Like I couldn't trust myself. I was so emotionally unstable. I was like, I'm leaving right now. I'm not dealing with it, kind of thing. My friends were always bummed out when that happened, but I know, you know what I mean? I know when I need to remove myself from a situation. But we ended up becoming friends again. Um, and um, that's like one of the reasons I had to burn that bridge. That's why I said that in the beginning. Like we could totally just be friends, but it's inevitable that like I'm gonna hurt myself being her friend. I can't just I don't know what it is. I tried really hard to just be her friend. Um, but I love her. I love her. I can't just be a little close. It's just not, and maybe that's my fault. But and it's just not meant to be. I mourned the loss of this for a long time, and I guess I still do sometimes. But I know in my heart of hearts that it wasn't meant to be. And this is, like Brazy Girl said, just forever a beautiful chapter in my life, right? Um, and if I'm being 100%, 100 honest, I have never been the same since this girl. I have had other girlfriends. I have linked up, so to speak, casually and uncasually since Lucy, but I have never fully recovered. That's for sure. That is for sure. Yeah, Heifer, that's what I was thinking. You know what I mean? I tried to do it as gentle as possible, as honest as possible, right? She ended up cheating on me with my best friend, but like not secretly. And then like I was like, don't do that. Like quit doing that. Like what the heck, And she was like, no, I'm gonna keep doing this. And I was like, what the heck? And that's how that happened. It was a whole lot more going on there, but I mean, in a nutshell, layman's terms, uh, and he's dead to me now. He's dead. He's dead to me. I wish him the best though. Hope it works out. And the kicker, they had a monogamous relationship for like a year or two after that. I had to like watch them have what I never got to have. Oh my. Oh my. It's amazing I made it through. I tell you what. Unlove someone without that horrible experience of hate coming into play. I tell you what, Tommy Bird, I don't think it's meant to be that way. I don't think we're meant to unlove. I think love is eternal, dude. I don't think that's why it's the strongest emotion. It doesn't get put aside so lightly. Like love is forever. That's why I said I'll love this girl forever till the day I quit drawing breath. I've got love in my heart for her, and that's okay. That's the kind of man I am. That's probably the pedigree of you as well, Tommy Bird. I'm in good company, I can tell. I tell you what, Zaphod, I have gone over this in my head a million times. And like the first thing that I wanted to do was crush this man. But I was a real friend to him. I was, it may not have been reciprocated, but I kept his secrets and I knew his heart. You know what I mean? So I wanted to hurt him, but I knew that was the wrong thing to do. I knew what he had gone through. I knew what his scars were and what his trauma was, and I did not want to be a part of that. So we let that one go, and I'm proud of that. Tommy Bird, and sometimes it's hard for me to remember both sides of that, right? Like the first bit that we were just talking about, what was it? I'm such a Swiss cheese brain. Not being able to unlove, yes, I get that. I don't forget that, but sometimes I forget that we can't just be friends after that, right? There is a point of no return. Like once, like it's forever, right? Kind of when I say it that way, it sounds silly, but I got to remind myself. Thank you, Tara. You are sweet and fierce, allegedly, apparently. Well, maybe it's Tink time, guys. We didn't really dive I don't want to say deep because we did dive. We dived so deep. We're a submersible now. Today we are at least. But I could have gone into much more detail. There are stories within that story, rife. That story is rife with its own stories, if that makes sense. But that is the general arc. That's the story arc of Lucy and Spanks. Shout out to Lucy. I love you. Hope you're doing well. I miss you. I don't know if we will revisit this. We may. I got through everything that I intended to. I'm impressed with myself. This took exactly the amount of time that I wanted it to. I didn't shed actual tears. I just almost did, which probably wouldn't have been the worst thing. One of these days, I'll be brave and cry in front of you. I keep trying, but getting cold feet right up on the precipice. I'll go up to the end of the diving board and then, oh, not today, maybe next time. Maybe Tina. Tina says, you think she was trying to hurt you by doing that with your friend? Maybe. Thanks, guys. Love you. I tell you what. You guys are rock stars. All right. I'm going to have a little caffeine. Uh-oh. I'm 2 hours past my deadline. Don't tell REA. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't hide it. But I am having caffeine. Well past when I'm supposed to. All right. I think the next story time we'll talk about my buddy Tony. He's been in my thoughts a lot lately, and I don't know why. Sometimes that happens. I bet you he's building time machines in some other dimension or something. But it is Friday, son. What do you mean? What are you trying to say, Jake? What are you trying to say, huh? Am I supposed to do something special on Friday? I thought we were going to mob deep. I thought we were going to dive deep into some dungeons, dog. Alliteration aside, it warms me up. My friend from Salt Lake comes and hangs out with us pretty much every day. That's my guy. That's my main man's right there. The last time I seen this guy, we were at I think it was a Denny's or an IHOP. I pulled up with the moving truck. His like where he lives was like on the way out of town, so I like pulled up in the moving truck and walk into IHOP and had pancake breakfast with my guy. Oh, dude, caffeine at any hour on Friday. See, it like doesn't work like that for me though. I get up at 5 a.m. every day. And as it stands now, I'm getting up at more like 6:13, and that hour and 13 minutes that I'm missing out on is food, is sanity, is hydration, is life. It is everything. So we missed that one today, but it's okay. All right. I'm getting sick of these tinctures. I need a new one. I wonder if there's a about this. Here, I have an idea. I don't know. I've already decided, but I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if I've shared this with you. I think I have because I was. Oh my gosh. My body's like, don't do it. Maybe I won't. I was pretty excited when I got this. Have I showed you this? The Harvest 912 super hot pepper flakes from Death Ridge Peppers. It's got, listen to some of these names, guys. It's crazy. I don't know if you can see too. Like those are crushed peppers, guys. This is no joke. And they're not red peppers. These are not red pepper flakes from Domino's. They go on every pizza that I ever make. These are the best. I had some that were a little different, but these are the real deal. Shout out to Harvest 912 and Death Ridge Peppers. Death Ridge's Peppers. Let's check this out. This is one pepper. This is the name of one of the peppers in here. Moruga Brain X Gator. I believe Brain X Gator is like brain crossed with gator. Moruga Brain X Gator Jigsaw Mustard. That's one pepper. Moruga Brain X Gator Jigsaw Mustard. Now, I want to eat that pod. I wish I could tell which flake was that one because I want to try it. There's one in here called Bubblegum Yellow, Peach Mystery, Beast Peach X Primo Peach, Peach Beast, Purple Beach Butte. Very tempted to call it a Purple Beach Butt, but it's a Purple Peach Butte. She's a Butte. Peach Primo, Mutant Orange, Ahi Cito, Dougla Inception, Archangel. Archangel. And then there's one called Fat Karen, P-H-A-T, Fat Karen. I wonder what kind of pepper that is. Matt's Secret Potion Chocolate. Okay. Apocalypse Scorpion Chocolate Primo. And then there's one that's called 002 Chocolate Mad Balls Primo. Chocolate Mad Balls. Jake, do you hear that? Chocolate Mad Balls? You ever had some chocolate Mad Balls? My chocolate Mad Balls. All right. I don't really know what to do with this. Like, can we... These are not noxious. Like that one faction in Runeterra. Wow. Turn on your smell-o-vision, folks. You get that? Oh! All right, should I do this or tincture? I'll let you guys decide. Speak now or forever hold your peace. If I do the tincture, I'll probably do either Armageddon or Haunted. If I do tincture, I'll do Armageddon. That's the one with Jesus, the devil, and the bowling ball striking Earth. Maybe it's a meteor. It just looks like a wow. I just like had my nose right over the top of this thing. Ben Bacon Bit says, "Do the Fat Karen stuff." What do the rest of you think? Tara agrees. Oh, go with my gut. I thought you said go for the gut. I was like, oh, that's the Fat Karen. Alan says Tink. Tablespoon of either. Oh my Rick. Fat Karen? I think I dated her. Ironically, she was super skinny. Both. This is inconclusive. All right, we'll do some Fat Karen. I don't want to stick my fingers in here. Let me get a utensil. Oh, I don't need that. All right, sorry to keep you guys waiting. Check this out. This is like a big old chunk right at the top. Perfect. I know this doesn't look like a lot, but it's going to hurt. So I dare you to eat this chunk. I don't know. All right, you ready? No tablespoon, Rick. Oh, okay. Down the hatch. Oh. Very delicious. Oh my. Oh my. Very hot. The flavor though? Oh my. Ooh, don't suck on the teeth though. Wow. The flavor on that thing. Not dissimilar to eating mushrooms. Dried out, freeze-dried mushrooms. Picking them out of my teeth later. Except I won't have any trouble finding these because they'll be burning the area around them. So that one, I feel like that one kind of acted like a Serrano. And when I say that, the way a Serrano hits my tongue is it's kind of like the pitter patter of rain on a tin roof, but it's spice on my tongue. And it always like will go like from the back to the front or from the front to the back. Like it'll just like a bunch of little pepper people running across my tongue. Oh, there's pepper up there. That was Harvest 912, Kristen. I don't know. Is that reversed for you guys? It's reversed, huh? You can't read because it's backwards, right? Ow, that hurts. But yeah, the way that one burnt was kind of like a Serrano, but just way hotter. Eating a full one of those peppers might do me in. I would say kill me, but I don't want to give people the wrong idea. It's not deadly. It's not dangerous. It is reversed. Yes, that was Harvest 912. This Harvest 912 super hot pepper flakes from Death Ridge's pepper. I can post a picture of it that's not backwards later. Hashtag chili heads on a mission. 100% of profits support our mission of providing foot care and new footwear to those in need. Chili Heads on a Mission producers like our friend Jacob Deathridge donate a smorgasbord of super hot peppers and much love to our cause. Yeah, Harvest 912. Shout out to Harvest 912. They're a bunch of good, but it's just really good people over there. All right, hit that like, subscribe if you like what we do here. Sucking on my teeth a little bit reminded me to take my ibuprofen that I'm going to throw around. Yeah, that's all I've got for you. Hit that like, subscribe, and the alarm bell for notifications. If you like what we do here, I will do another story time. We will revisit this theme, but maybe not the same topic. I think I've said all that I want to at this time about Lucy. So you guys have a great night. I'm going to post those journal questions immediately. My brain has been dropping things lately. I don't know why, but I'm getting back to this consistency. So bear with me. I appreciate you all. You guys have a wonderful night, all right? Enjoy your weekend. See ya.